Hello, strangers and friends. My name is Grace, and welcome to episode 27 of Sometimes I Make Things, a YouTube podcast series primarily about knitting, but we do other things here as well. And today I want to talk about all the things that I made, knit, crocheted, and even a little bit of sewing in the year 2025. I'm sure it rings true for many people that 2025 was a very busy year. It was for me personally. You may have noticed in that I haven't posted a video to YouTube since my birthday yarn haul back in April. I have been quietly making away in the meantime, but I definitely felt like I didn't have as much time for making this year as I have in years past. I am very lucky that I got full time at my job, so that's been keeping me busy. I'm really liking that, really enjoying it, but I've had to squeeze in more moments for making than I did previously when I worked part-time. That being said, I had a goal in 2025 to try to make 12 items, kind of aim for one project a month if possible, and I pulled that off. I'm pretty happy about that. So I'll be showing you those items here. Another goal that I had was I wanted to do a year of socks. I did not want to knit a pair of socks a month. Your girl has never been able to do that, and I don't know if I ever will be able to do that, but I wanted to try knitting one single sock per month. I didn't quite land that, but I did make more socks this year than I ever had before, so this was very much a year of socks for me. Will I make more socks in 2026? Yes, but are we taking a break from socks after this? Yes. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first finished object of 2025, I don't have. I gave it away as a gift. I made Pesto, the baby penguin. I think it's an emperor penguin? King penguin. Pretty sure it's a king penguin. Pesto the penguin went viral in Australia late in 2024, early 2025. So that was the inspiration for this creature. I made this little guy as part of the Pet Parade Cal, which was in the beginning of 2025. It was hosted by James and Watts, Jessie May, and Park Williams, and it was such a cute little way to start the year. I did not finish my pesto during the time of the Cal. I thought it would be so doable to make this little penguin, and I failed, but it was still delightful. I'm glad I was a part of it. This penguin pattern is called Baby Penguin. It's by Garland. In her design, it's a little gray, black and white penguin. I modified it to make our friend Pesto, of course. I knit it in Knit Picks Wonderfluff was the body yarn. I think that was a great choice for knitting a little creature in because it's so fluffy. And then the beak yarn was knit in Blue Sky Fibers Woolstock Worsted. I actually got that at the end of 2024 on a trip to Montreal, so it was a travel yarn, so that was a little cute and sentimental, and it's just like a good woolly yarn. I gifted this to my friend Kristen, who had a love affair with Pesto the penguin. And it felt like a very sweet little Valentine's Day gift, basically, to give to my friend. And Pesto now lives a very happy life with Kristen and her cat, Pippin. My second FO of 2025 is my first pair of socks for 2025. Kablam! These are the monkey socks by Cookie A. They are very romantically covered in my hair, tee-hee. These have gotten some wear, if you can't tell. Most of my socks have gotten plenty of wear this year. Maybe that's better. Anyway, I knit these in Cascade yarns in their fingering base, the regular 80/20. The color is called Highlighter Yellow. It's a fantastic color. You want a mood boosting color? Highly recommend Highlighter Yellow. I don't know if I highly recommend it for knitting socks because I do find that the heels have gotten pretty felted on these guys, which that's okay. They're sturdy enough. I've given them a good amount of wear, and where I normally wear in my socks is on the toe, and I'm not seeing any damage to the toes at this point in time. They do have some black staining on them because I got those clear Ugg boots, and turns out the black bottom of the Ugg boots can stain your socks. Oops. It's okay. It's the bottom of the sock. This is a free pattern available from Knitty Magazine, which is a Canadian virtual knitting magazine. They come out with 4 issues throughout the year, and the designers are paid. I think it's really ethical business. I love that it's also local, relatively in my area, so always a shout out to Knitty Mag. These are a lovely pair of socks. They're one of the most popular sock patterns on Ravelry, and for good reason. It's fun to knit, it looks fabulous, and it fits great. no complaints. Very happy with these, and you can tell I've given them plenty of wear. I've enjoyed these guys. My third finished project for 2025 is my second pair of socks. Shablam. More hair on them. I'm really happy with these. These socks were the very first pair that I ever knit on 2.25 millimeter needles. And I think I need to commit to that going forward because these have held up beautifully. I like the fabric that they made, and yeah, it's just a solid knit. This yarn, lovely. It has some bamboo in it. This one is called Rico Design Socks Bamboo Rainbow. And I got this at a yarn store in Barrie, Ontario when I was there with a friend. We were doing some dog sitting that weekend, so kind of another travel nostalgic yarn for me. I really love knitting these. This is one of the first pairs of self-striping socks that I've done. And it was so motivating to knit, and I'm truly happy with this rainbow. I don't know if I've got much more to say about these guys. There's no pattern. I just knit a 1x1 rib and did a plain vanilla sock with a heel flap and gusset. I think heel flap and gusset is my go-to for socks. I've tried a few different sock constructions this year. I wasn't crazy adventurous with my socks, but I just really enjoy the process of the heel flap and gusset. And I also really like top down. Those are my sock knitting opinions that I have formed. So yeah, number 3. My fourth FO for 2025, I also don't have. I gave it away as a gift. It was also a test knit for Tori U. This is the Star Scarf, which I did, like I said, as a test knit. It's a lovely little pattern, and you will be seeing it again later. I knit this one in Lichen in Lace, their 80/20 sock base. The color was called Lichen. I actually got that as a gift from Mega of Skeins of Dreams, who's a YouTuber here. You definitely should check out her channel. She's a delightful human being. In early 2021, she sent me a yarn care package because I was a student and I didn't have much money, and I was just commenting on how little yarn I had. You know, just this is what I got. And she very generously sent me a D-stash of hers, and it was all very nice stuff. So whenever I use those yarns, I always have a little Mega. The other yarn that I used was one that I actually won in a giveaway. It was from Area 51 Fibers, their Sturdy Alien sock base, and it came as part of a sock kit that I wanted to give away, which you will also see later in this video. I think it might have been 2023 or 2022 that I won that, so it's time to shine had come. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I highly recommend the pattern as far as a simple knit that has a little flair to it, and you know, it's great for using mini skeins as well. This one I gifted to my friend Sandra as a birthday gift for her, and it was very heartwarming always to give something handmade to a friend. She calls them my Grace Originals, and I like that. So Star Scarf, number 4. Finished object number 5 of 2025 is what I'm wearing right now. This is the Schemer Slipover by Apella Knits, and notably I modified it using minimalist machinist Rachel. Modification from her Patreon of a basket weave stitch to it. I love this project so much. It came out beautifully. I made this in both Knit Picks yarns, Knit Picks Aloft, which is their mohair silk, and Knit Picks Swish, which is their merino yarn. Both of those are in the Solar Flare Heather colorway, and I'm very happy with how the color turned out. Funnily enough, I actually originally wanted this in a like construction pylon orange. I wanted a bright orange, so I was a little disappointed when this yarn came, but now that I've actually worked with it, knit it and stared at it and worn it, I'm like, oh, this is a nice color. It's probably more wearable than construction pylon orange would be. I had thought originally to make it in gray with that yarn that I mentioned that I got from Montreal at the beginning that I used in pesto, and I think I will make the Schemer Slipover again using that gray yarn and just do the plain stockinette version, because I think a gray vest, gray slipover could get tons of mileage. This is the first vest situation that I've ever made, and I think it has made me a convert. I think it's so wearable, I think it's so comfortable, and there's just so much that you can do with it. And I've never had vests before in my wardrobe, so it's been fun learning how to dress using it. I've worn this to a few events. I wore it to a knitting festival, which was delightful. I wore it on a date. The date was 3.5 hours long, and I was surprised by how nice of a time I had. And then I never heard from him again. Love that. But hey, I looked great and I had a good time. I was wearing this exact outfit actually. I will repeat this outfit many times. I think I look great. Men. Anyway, highly recommend this pattern. I think that's all I had to say about this guy, but definitely one of the contenders for first place of favorite objects that I made this year. Sizing. I should comment on sizing because this is the first wearable item that I made for the year. I made this in the size 6, but then I reduced it down to the smallest size for the shoulders. I just don't like as much when vest slipovers have kind of like extra fabric here and it kind of creates a bit of a box shape. So I really wanted to snatch it in. I initially wasn't sure if I went too far in the decreasing and that it looked more like a tank top, but I'm very happy with how that worked out. So I feel like it balances on my shoulders much better than if it had been, you know, an inch wider on either side and would have come down like that. So that was something that I did as far as modification. The texture, obviously, but then also I significantly changed my decreasing angle. And yeah, that's how you get the fit. Finished object number 6 is also MIA. It's also in someone else's home as we speak. It's the last thing that I gave away as far as things that I made this year. This was the Amused Gallbladder. I crocheted it. A crochet project. How fun and novel. One of my coworkers, one of her kids had a gallbladder removal, I think a few years ago was the story, and there's just a bit of a joke in their family about, oh, I miss my gallbladder. So my coworker asked if I could make a gallbladder, and so I did. It was a very fun little project to make. I haven't commissioned something in a very long time either, so that was fun to make, and I got myself a little bit of money to buy some patterns, so that was fun. I knit this, I held worsted yarn double to make it larger, and then also I got a mid-sized rock and put that in, so the gallbladder has a gallstone in it, and that also puts a bit of weight to it. So that was a fun little project, and definitely was not something I anticipated making in the year. I normally, if someone asked me to make them something, would turn them down because I only got so much time in my life to make the things that I want to make. But this was a project that was not an overly large project. It felt doable for me, and then I also felt good about the amount of money I would ask for how much time that it cost. So it all felt very reasonable and balanced and a thing that I could do. And then I haven't crocheted something in a while, so a crochet project in there as well, kind of remind myself that I can do it. No complaints. Finished object number 7, and the third pair of socks of 2025, are the Jaywalker socks by Grumperina, which are rather Crumperina right now, if I do so say myself. These guys, I have to always reference for the name of the yarn. These are knit in Zwergergarn Opal Zauberwald is the name of the yarn, and the colorway is Bootsfahrt Zamond, which is, or Die Bootsfahrt Zamond, which is German, and it means, I think, Journey to the Moon, and it's based on a painting. But as an English speaker and English reader, it really does look like it says Die Bootsfahrt, and I think that's an entertaining name. I got this yarn on a road trip, so it is also travel nostalgic yarn, and I got it because it reminds me of my favorite fruit, which is passion fruit. So that's what charmed me about this one. This was the first time I had done a texture like this in socks, and it's definitely much more stiff and sturdy than a stockinette would be, so you do have to trust the process a little bit with how it'll fit, but I'm quite happy with it. It does have a little bit of like puckering that happens at the top here between where the ribbing is and the texture is, but that's fine. It all stretches out the same when you wear it. I don't think I have much more to add with these guys, but I am happy with them. They're good quality. I do appreciate a more rustic yarn, I have learned, where the soft yarns are very nice to knit with and to wear initially, but these guys are not felting, and they have been worn just as much, if not more, than the monkey socks, and they are looking good, and they're gonna stay looking good for a while, I imagine. Are you working? I think you ought to be working. This is the third time I'm filming this section. Anyway. Finished object number 8 for 2025 is Return of the Star Scarf by Tori. I knit this guy in the Knitting Loft, which is a Toronto, Ontario yarn store. They do their own line of yarn. So this is their base Pippi in their Darlings colorway. Or sorry, their Darlings base, their Pippi colorway. I'm losing the plot on this one. I've talked too much about the Star Scarf. And then the Cascade Heritage in highlighter pink again. I knit this guy on a road trip with my dad, which is a very cherished memory from 2025. I originally meant to bring a pair of socks with me, but I forgot them at home. But very fortunately, I had brought all the supplies to make this guy right here. And I'd enjoyed doing the test knit so much that it was a delight to return to it. This design uses garter stitch and short rows, so it was very doable to do in the car without making myself car sick, which is key. And it ended up being the exact right amount of knitting I needed. I didn't feel like I was deprived of knitting, and I also finished it on our last stretch home. So it ended up being exactly what I needed for that trip. And I am very happy to have this little memento of that voyage that we went on together. You never know how things will go when you're traveling with your parents, and the fact that we had a really good time. We never snapped at each other. We saw some really interesting and beautiful sights and some really nice people, and we didn't really plan a ton in advance. We kind of just hit the road, Jack, and we found hotels as we went, and we went to attractions as we went, and we met up with family and friends as we went, and it worked out. So I feel like that was a good confidence boost, honestly, for, yes, it's good to plan your trips, but also you can just go and explore, and it's gonna be fine. Just have a nice time, bring a good attitude, the rest will follow. So I love my little star scarf. Okay, you say recording audio through USB mic, so I can only hope that that means that you're being honest with me, because I've only ever been honest with you. Finished object number 9 is a true winner, a true diva, and that is the Turtledove scarf by Sari Nordlund. This, all I can say, she's a work of art. She's stunning, she's beautiful, and I'm incredibly proud of making this knit. I made this guy, let me just pull up my yarn names here, in Filatura de Crossa Zarina is the main color, which is a merino base yarn, and then the mohair is Filcolana Tilia, and the color is, I believe, called Chinese Red, or color 218. I also used a bit of mystery mohair in this one because the one ball of Tilia was not enough, which is annoying, because why did I need like 5 grams of other mohair? You don't have to buy a whole extra skein of yarn just for that little bit. So one of these tips is done in a thrifted mohair yarn, and I don't think it is a problematically obvious difference. Can you really tell? I started this when I was on my Montreal trip in late 2024. And I meant to finish it for Christmas 2024, but it wasn't going to happen. So it got benched for pretty much all of 2025. And when I came back from the road trip with my dad, I was feeling inspired to get back to it, and I knocked it out of the park. So it was ready for Christmas 2025. This pattern truly makes me feel like proud of how far I've come as a knitter. There's a mistake or two in there, but there's nothing obvious. I think like I did a technical, very good job on this, and I feel like I learned a lot as well with it being a bobble and cable project. And she's delightful. I would like to make another one of these in a sage green, I think would be really nice. I also like the idea of knitting this, this is like a DK weight in the end, but I think using a worsted weight or a bulky yarn even, and just knitting it to a nice gauge, and making a large version could be really cool. Like a nice deep red or a pink or something, I don't know. But I think making a giant one is probably in my future, because I really think that the tiny scarves are a very cute trend, but I struggle a little bit. And maybe it's because your girl has a thick neck, but they don't always sit the way that I want them to. But she's cute. I can get a little irritated by mohair being around my neck. I don't know about you, but it does keep you really warm. If it's cold out and you got mohair on your neck, you're staying cozy. But definitely that is a little qualm I have with to mohair or not to mohair with a little shawl like this. But yeah, if you're looking for a pattern to push yourself a little bit, but it's still a very achievable size, check out the Turtledove. You've got nothing to lose. Jump scare. I'm very close to you all of a sudden. One thing I want to mention is I have a little knitting journal, and one of the things I wanted to do this year was doodle my finished objects. So all the objects that I've shown you so far are in this journal, so I wanted to do a brief pause to show you that. So here we are with our little spread. Fait accompli, please don't question me too much on writing that. When I was making the spread, it just felt right to have that. It means like accomplished fact in French. And I don't know if that actually makes sense as an expression to use, but it just, my brain insisted for some reason that it had to say that. So yeah, I did each of these little guys mostly in pencil crayon with a little bit of marker to darken it, and I just noted like who the designer is and if I gifted it to somebody, and just any little note about the project. And on the second page here, we have the Turtledove drawn in there. So the rest of the objects that I have for the year, I just haven't gotten around to coloring and drawing them yet, but this I thought was a very just cutesy way to track my projects. And yeah, I definitely hoping to continue this one into 2026. Finished object number 10 for 2025 was my 4th pair of socks. Blue. Another pair of vanilla socks. Wow. So these ones are fun because it's made in a mystery yarn. I thrifted this yarn for $4, and I am pretty certain it is a indie hand-dyed yarn. There was no label with it or anything, but it's just got that good 8-ply bounce to it that indie yarn does, and then there wasn't really any consistency to the pooling that happened, like between the two socks. There's just a bit of variety. So I don't think a machine plotted this. I think a human made this. So it's, you know, it was just a very fun little find to have. And this wasn't a color I would typically go for if I was purchasing yarn like brand new. So it was fun to push myself out a little bit. And I really enjoyed knitting with the yarn itself, whatever yarn it might be. I jokingly called these the lesbian socks because the colors are of the lesbian pride flag. So we got some ally socks in the house. These ones are notable because I did a strong heel for the first time on them. Let's see if I can get a little close up in there of that one. I will say that I don't know if the strong heel is for me. It was fun knitting it, but I don't think it's quite the right fit for my particular ankle. In general, I did knit these socks a little bit too big. So they are perfect for bed socks because I found that as I've matured as a woman, and I'm 28 years old, my feet get really cold at night, like bricks of ice at night. And I have found that wearing wool socks at night fixes the problem. So these have been MVPs for bed socks because it doesn't matter if they're a little loose, little baggy on you when you wear them at night, as long as they keep your feet warm. So again, like wear and tear is not really an issue on these guys because they're not getting walked on really. They're being slept on. So yeah, very happy with these guys. Just a nice plush pair of socks. I do fear I'm approaching my psychological limit because this will be the 4th time that I have filmed this segment. I have even changed the microphone that I am using because I'm losing it. I can only hope that the audio is stored somewhere, like maybe in the device. I don't know, but it's just... Anyway, finished object number 11 for 2025 is my 5th pair of socks of the year. This is the skein that I won in the giveaway from Area 51 Fibers. The colorway is called Nutcracker on the Sturdy Alien base. It came with that gray yarn that I had in my first star scarf, but I thought that this green would go much nicer with it, which is just a nice cascade yarn. I think it has some silk content in it, so it's maybe not the sturdiest for socks, but aesthetically for Christmas socks, it's what I wanted. I knit this as a continuous tube, so I did 2x2 rib at the top, I knit the entire 50-gram skein, and then I put a toe on the end, and then I found the midpoint, I steeked it into 2 pieces, and then added the missing heel and toe, respectively. You might notice that there's no afterthought heel on them at this point in time. I'm gonna just need your kindness on that and agree with me that these are finished socks. They fit me as tube socks, they are wearable. It stresses them out a little bit, but they're wearable. I'll get around to adding the afterthought heels to these eventually. I was just, you know what, these were my November and December socks. I knit them during the holiday season. I enjoyed them. I'm just not feeling this anymore right now. I don't want to do the fiddliness of like picking up and creating the afterthought heels, whatever. Afterthought heels are just not my jam. So I'm calling these my 11th FO, and I'm calling these my 5th finished pair of socks of the year because I like that I did 5 pairs of socks. I normally only do like 2 pairs of socks in a year. So I really do feel like I was very mindful of trying to hit every month making a sock, and it kept it as a focus point. And I'm really proud of what I made this year on that front. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling like I want a little break from tiny needles and tiny projects. So yes, finished object number 11, pair of socks, number 5. I really hope the audio worked on this one. I've talked about these socks many, many times. Okay, that time it worked. Manifesting. We're almost done. We're almost done. All right, finished object number 12 for 2025. It's a Triceratops. This little guy I started in June 2024, and it was his time to be made real and to live his beautiful life. I finished this earlier today. I literally just needed to give him his chin there. So it was just like 10 stitches basically that needed to be done. And there you go. He's complete. This little guy is also by Claire Garland, who was the penguin pattern that was my first pattern of the year. So kind of fun to bookend my year with Claire Garland. I'm a huge fan of her work. And yeah, it's just nice to make a little guy. This guy is knit in Knit Picks Stroll Tweed. I think the color is like Lost Lake or Forest Green Heather, something like that. And then a mystery green mohair that I think I thrifted. And then also some more Knit Picks. What's that base called? I'm gonna have to look it up. The colorway I think is called Finley Heather. So yeah, I like this little guy. He's a little friend. He's gonna live in my house. I think he's gonna live on my yarn shelf or my bookshelf, and keep an eye on things. His name is Michael Ceratops, like Triceratops, but he's Michael Ceratops. I don't know if I will knit this again because it definitely was fiddly and it took me 18 months before I could commit to finishing it. But I'm proud of having made it, and I really do want to work through the library of Claire Garland because she just has so many very darling animals that I want to make. So I made a friend. Okay, I've done like 5 tests. She's got to work for me this time. Please go out. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I was hoping to do 12 finished objects for the year 2025. So I feel really good about the fact that I had 12 things to talk to you about there. I wanted to add a little bonus bit because I also mentioned I did some sewing this year, and that's kind of clickbait, and like I didn't like sew a shirt or anything, but I did get into some felt sewing this year. So I don't really have anything to properly show for myself at this point in time. But at a yarn event, I got this book called Stitch Safari by Tomomi Maeda. And it's just these adorable little animal friends. And clearly I love making an adorable little animal friend. So there is a sheep in there, so obviously I had to make the sheep. My sheep is semi-naked because you stitch it together and then you wrap it in yarn, which is beautiful. Amazing work, Tomomi. But then that part was kind of annoying me, so I have like my sheep looks a bit mangy at the moment. But my friend saw it and said, oh, the sheep kind of looks like a capybara. And my mom's favorite animal is a capybara. So I took this same design and made my mom a capybara ornament for Christmas, which was a lot of fun. And then I was feeling like, that was so nice to make. The friend that gave me that idea, I'm gonna make her something felted. So there's also this lovely bunny, and she lives up in the far north. So I made her like an Arctic hare version. So I did it all in white with some black accents to it. And of course I didn't take any photos of that one. You also have to take my word for it, but I liked that like this was time consuming, but in a way that's different from knitting, and I could just, I could sit down, cut out the pieces, and then another time I could sit down, I could sew them all together. And, it took its time, but it was nice to just have like a new thing to try and stretch my skill set a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to try to make some more felted creatures because they really play well as gifts. And on the note about gifts, I was very fortunate this year in that people made me some felt gifts. So my friend Sandra, who I gave the star scarf to, made me this beautiful red beaded heart. Every year we do an ornament exchange. This is only the second year that we've done it, but we're making a tradition where for Christmas every year we're going to get each other an ornament, and then over the years we'll have more and more ornaments from each other. So she made me this beautiful, beautiful heart. And then my friend Jillian made me a cookie heart. It's so cute and so soft. So I got felt hearts. Felt Sewn felt ornaments were very on trend this year, so it felt fun for me to, for once in my life, be on time with a trend. And then I was just so freaking delighted to get these guys. I also would like to add that like 2025 was a heartbreak year for me. I did start the year in a long-term relationship and I'm ending the year single. So it just felt very symbolic to me that in my heartbreak year, my friends, my dear friends, turned around and made me soft-hearted. So it's so nice to be loved. So yeah, get into felt sewing. It's such a lovely thing to do and try and gift. And yeah, I just thought that was worth sharing. Man, I hope the audio worked on that one. I feel like this recording process has been going on longer than I intended, and the quality of light is rapidly changing because it is winter in Canada. But I did also want to talk about these two lovely friends. So I didn't do a ton of spinning this year. Tammy the spinning wheel is right here staring at me just at a shot. But I did do 2 spins this year on the spinning wheel. They're bulky and they are wonky, but I'm really proud of them. I did this one first and then this one was my more recent one. 2026, I do want to do some more spinning. It's just fitting all the pieces of your life together. I also recently realized that Tammy's string, I don't even know the names of the spinning wheel, but I think it's gotten loose from the humidity or lack of humidity in the apartment. So I think I need a new drive band, I guess, for her, because I tried spinning the other day and something was wrong. So anyway, all to say, this one is from Malabrigo. The color is called Petrichor. It's their Nube base. I did feel like I had to fight with this a little bit, but I find the colors of it are very beautiful. I would love to make a Manhattan hat by Tori out of this if I have enough yardage. I haven't actually ever knit with my hand spun to this point. I've just been trying to make it so far. And then this one here is from, let me just quickly double check. It's a Polworth silk blend and the color is called Smiling Faces. And the dyer for this one is Alon's E Fibers. This skein is intended as a gift for my friend Mel. I just haven't seen Mel in a hot minute. So next time, Mel. Yeah, Mel is into crocheting. I'm very curious to see what this may end up becoming, or it could also just be a beloved skein of yarn, because who doesn't just love having some nice yarn in your stash? So I thought those were notable to share as well, that I have these 2 skeins to show for my year. Oop, jarring change in audio quality. I gave up on the microphones. This is my 3rd time filming this outro and I am losing it. So hopefully it's not too bad. I don't know. If the audio quality is not that different in the end, maybe I just got to give up on the microphones, because I don't know what we're doing here. But anyway, all to say, there were a few other things that I was considering talking about, like the yarn that I bought in 2025, the whips that I'm ending the year with, like what do I have on the needles going into 2026. But this took a lot longer than I thought it would, and the light is fading, and I am hungry. So we're going to end things here. I'm really proud of what I made in 2025. I learned some new skills. I tried some new things. I set some goals for myself that I reached and kind of didn't reach. But it all worked out in the end, and I'm proud of what's going on. For 2026, I roughly would love to knit some more hats and some more skinny scarves, because I haven't done like a hat in a really long time. I also haven't knit a sweater in a very long time, so 2026 I'm thinking about sweaters. But yeah, I think I'll maybe try to come back sooner than later with another video about what I'm going to get up to more in depth in 2026 and what I have on my needles, and yeah, spend some time thinking about what I want to achieve in 2026. I'm looking forward to 2026. I really don't know what the year has ahead. I'm starting the year in a very different place than I am ending it. beginning 2025, I was in a long-term relationship. I was living with my parents. I was working part-time. I was vegetarian. Now I have full-time work. I am in my own little place, which I love being here. I'll do a house tour sometime, because the hovel, my home, is a beautiful place. And I love being able to have people over and sharing my home. Yeah, living on my own, single, full-time employment. I eat meat sometimes now when I want to, because I can, and it's okay. So yeah, there's just been a lot of change, and I think January Grace would be a little freaked out at December 2025 Grace. But December me really is looking back and saying, no, you needed that. That was good. It was hard, but you grew a lot, and you are better off for it. So I'll just say, where I'm starting 2026, I'm really interested to see where I will end 2026. And I hope that I will be able to post more on YouTube, because I do enjoy making these videos when they don't break me psychologically. And yeah, it's nice to share and do some community building and all that. So please leave a comment if you made it this far. Tell me about something that you made, or tell me what you think about what I made this year. Is there anything you want to achieve in 2026, or any big lesson that you took out of 2025? Every year has challenges, obviously. We can't go a whole year with sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops. But I hope that 2026, any challenges that it offers, is nothing you can't handle, and growth all over the place. And then I hope there's a lot of joy in the year ahead, and all that jazz. So on that note, I'm going to get something yummy to eat. And I'm going to start the process of editing this video. Yeah, with that, I wish you all the best. Take care, friends.